worship at home. I said, I don't need the conflict. So we worship at home. And then in the meantime, my son came to work for me and baptized him and his daughter, him and his wife, and then baptized my other daughters. And so we started worshiping out of our home. So we were just having church at home. And then Nick's foot started really bothering him to the point where he can only work 3 or 4 hours a day. So I said, well, Nick, you can't stand up and work very long, but you can sure talk. I said, you can surely talk. I said, you're going to get your teacher's degree, and we're going to open up a church. I said, I have a longing to get back involved in the church and preach God's word. There's nothing as important as sharing God with people. That's our belief, and that's what our foundation is. So he got his degree through Liberty University Online. Actually, Nick was a lousy student, but he was an A student when it came to God's word. Done very well. So we sort of, I think it was a year ago, Easter, we opened up at the town hall with about 30 people or so, not knowing where we were going to go, what was going to happen, praying for a location. And believe it or not, my son-in-law, Tim Robinson, had a dream. He was mowing the lawn up the Stone Church. And I said, well, I better call Jim. I said, I knew of the Stone Church, but I knew it needed a lot of work, it needed a lot of renovations, didn't know even if it was available at the time. And so I called Jim up, and Jim said, do you want it, Rick? I said, well, Jim, we got no money, we're just starting out. And he says, well, I'll take care of that. And he has taken care of that. He's probably put, him and the fellow who owned the Bass Farm, maybe some people can remember who owned the Bass Farm. Nielsen, was it?
Yeah.
Nielsen. I had to put aside money for that particular reason. I guess Nielsen wanted to be a preacher. And so he was thinking someday he might retire and preach, but it never came to pass. But so Jim has totally remodeled the Stone Church for us. So this past Christmas we opened up the Stone Church and had a Stone Church revival. It took quite a while. I'm blessed to do a lot of the woodwork. I love doing finished work. I was able to do a lot of the finished work there. But we love Bible studies. We still do Bible study out of our home on Thursday night, and really promote knowing God's word. That's the only way you're going to grow and be able to share it with people, is to know it and to live it and make a difference in your life and people's around your life. And so Nick's done a great job preaching. His first lesson was an hour long. Didn't go 2 hours, but he went an hour. Now he's down to about a half an hour and doing really well. And we've got between 40 and 50 people who come, and it's growing all the time. New faces keep showing up, and it's such a blessing. So I'm thankful to my great-grandmother who had the Bible on her side of her that inspired me and truly changed my life, and that's what we try to do with other people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Before I open up to question and answers, I just want to make this comment. One of the wonderful traditions of the Greater Antrim community is religious tolerance. St. Patrick's congregation, which was a Catholic congregation in Bennington, which closed. I don't know if I talk pretty loud, but it closed, what, 7 or 8 years ago, I would guess. Its great benefactor, when it started out in the late 19th century, was a man named Colonel Arthur Pierce. The Pierce School in Bennington, that's not named after Franklin Pierce, that's named after Samuel Pierce. He was a Protestant who nevertheless was a great benefactor of that Catholic congregation. So I think that's representative of the religious harmony that we have had in this community. Why don't we open it up to question and answers, and then we'll eat food after a while. Afraid to ask ministers questions. Okay.
I just have something I want to say. I remember coming to the Presbyterian Church in the late 50s, early 60s, when Baptist Youth Fellowship were joined with the Presbyterian Church with fellowships, and would meet out in the sanctuary. And we would go roller skating at, Bedford Arena, and all pile into somebody's station wagon, and off we'd go. And then we'd come back to the church here and say our goodbyes, and I have fond memories of that. Thank you.
And neither one of us mentioned, there's also the Vacation Bible School has been a joint thing between the Baptist Church and us, and if you want to advertise and join us, that's probably fun. I'm speaking without asking everybody, but it's a community thing. It's a community thing, but also the working together is very important, because we're all, like he said, the tolerance is because all of us are really on the same goal. It's just different ways of doing it and things. So, and another thing I have is I had been the minister in Elstead for 18 years. If I had stayed there, I started there the same time Charlie and Cheryl started here. But in 2005, that community was devastated by a flood, and I was the only minister in the community. But Christmas time rolled along, and this is how things sort of come around. All of a sudden, the fire chief called me and said, I have a delivery of toys, because the toys were done out of the church. And up drove the Antrim ambulance, chock-a-block full of toys. And now I end up here. So.
Sure.
So Charlie brought some pictures in, and behind the building of that church at the Point, there's another church behind it. What's that history?
Yeah, so next door to our church, which is now a 4-apartment building that we bought, was the Methodist church.
Oh, okay.
And so you'll see in the back page of these papers you have, you see a picture of the Methodist church there next to the construction of the Baptist church. The Baptist church was already in place, and then that went defunct and was turned into Cold Flats, they were called at that time,
Okay.
and created a house for Barbara and John Shea. Lived there for many, many years.
Yeah.
And then we bought that building a number of years ago, and we've changed it into 4 apartment buildings that our church rents out to folks. And, but that was another church that was here part of the town.
No more brave people. This was wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks for organizing.
Yeah, but this was really terrific. I mean, I've been proud of a lot of programs that we've had here. This is really one of the best. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you. Go eat.